the ASAP Podcast!
Well, actually, it's not another edition. It's a
Special edition!
You see, we have a way of doing things here at the ASAP Podcast. We like to do 3 random topics. We don't know they're coming. But that's the problem. We don't know what's coming.
We have no idea what's going on, and this has always been our premise of the show.
We love it, but when we have some really topical issues that are happening now, and it gets entered into our database of possible choices...
It gets stuck in our brain, and we can't get it out until somebody farts, and it really sticks up the entire room, and then after that, you just lose all concentration of the subject. By the way, I'm pancakes.
Which you often do. But waiting for it to come up, sometimes it's so long before it comes up, it's no longer relevant. Like, we had the WWE releases as a topic.
Yes, we did.
It just never came up.
Nope.
We were just waiting, and it just never came up. So, we thought of the idea of doing a once upon a time special edition where we just feature on one topic.
So special.
Now, we wanted to keep the spontaneity. We wanted to keep the feel of the ASAP Podcast. So what we did was, we decided we're going to bring in a special guest. That's right, a number 3.
A number 3? Tell me more!
A number 3 for these special edition podcasts. Now, we know the topic. We know what's coming, but our guest has no clue.
And that is the spontaneous part of the entire damn show, folks.
And we tried to keep it real in that we are not researching this topic. We decided on it. We said we have to do it now. And we decided to go by what we already know and what we've already heard.
And understand that anything that you hear on this show today, on this special, is clearly our opinion. It is not to be taken seriously. And if you do, then you're just an asshole.
Yes, we are going to be uninformed and informative. We're going to be informed but uninformative. That is what we're trying to do here. We're trying to talk like bros in a bar who vaguely are listening to the news and then talking about it.
The thing is, it just doesn't stink like shit and your feet don't stick on the floor.
Well, that's not a saying in any
That's
state.
every fucking bar you go to. I can't fucking walk into a bar and not have my fucking feet stick to the floor.
Well, it don't stink and my feet don't stick. This is a good damn bar.
Ba-ding-ding-ding-ding-ding-ding-ding.
I've never heard...
You have to change the bars you go to.
I've never heard anyone
You
say
need to
that.
change it.
And
I don't know, man. $2 Bud Lights. I ain't going nowhere.
we were at a bar that was doing in Maryland. They were doing $1 pictures of Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yeah.
And I had never tried Pabst. And I almost did, but then I realized I'm not that poor.
Damn Skippy.
So yeah, I got a Bud Light. Okay, so special edition, one topic, special guest, and how do we intro this guy?
Well, let me just say this. Number 1, the man that we have planned for you tonight to meet as our special guest happens to be none other.
He's a world traveler.
He's a world traveler.
He's a world traveler.
He's personal friends with Donald Trump
And Vladimir Putin.
And Vladimir Putin.
He actually taught Putin how to ride a horse and told him the aerodynamics of being shirtless improves the ride.
I heard that when he takes his shirt off, his pecs bounce and he's not even trying.
And this is how he landed the big job as the property manager. Please welcome our good friend, Dennis John!
Woo! What's up, DJ?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
You are our first guest as far as everyone else knows.
Congrats!
So is that like being the first champion in a long line of people who came by?
It's more like being the champion of a hot dog eating contest.
You know what? When I see you in the locker room, I've often thought, this man, the way he conducts himself, he reminds me of a Pat Patterson.
Pat
Yep.
Patterson? Why is that?
He knows exactly what he's saying, and he'll even show you in the shower.
Dare I say this makes me the OG of special guests on this show.
Yeah, true. You're the first.
All
you're
right.
popping the cherry. And
Did nobody get my fucking Pat Patterson reference?
I get it. I just have respect for Intercontinental Champions.
Wow.
If it was a European
Wow.
champion, fuck those guys.
Fuck those guys.
If I didn't meet him in person and think he was the nicest guy, then
Oh no, he is a nice guy. I
know.
just know he likes sitting in the shower.
I was just gonna say, I thought you were gonna try to tell me that you thought I was gay.
Well, all right. Anyway, we have gone through a lot of ring boys in this.
I always wondered about you.
I've never been in the shower with Billy Jack Haynes.
Ooh, some references here.
I have.
Dennis, we wanted you as a guest because we felt like we're good friends. We've known each other for so long. You've been in the wrestling business for so freaking long.
Yeah.
And you have such a different opinion than everybody else. I mean, that is your persona, both on Facebook land and in real life. You have a different way of looking at things, and I thought, man, on this subject, we need someone who's going to have almost an opposite to my opinion. Maybe even an opposite to Pancake's opinion.
Most of the time, it's always the opposite. But you know what?
I always figured my character came out of who I was because I'm really good at making people mad at me no matter what I'm doing.
Well, this podcast...
As I think he stated it one time, a couple times, maybe a few thousand times. His world dream is to get you stabbed.
That's true. Yeah, that is my booking goal. When you get stabbed, as I watch the life drain from your eyes, I will go, we did it, man. We did it.
I'll never
Now go to sleep as he hovers the pillow so tightly upon
Why
your
am I
mouth.
putting him down in the ambulance?
You know what? I'll never forget the night of my referee heel turn. I had to hide outside, and Blake from NYWC,
Yeah.
he said to me, he's like, you better hide behind that car. They're going to lynch you, bro.
Damn.
Some good moments, man.
Yeah, I remember.
Maybe this will be a big moment in the Dennis John career. Who knows? Are you ready to find out what the topic is?
You know,
Yes,
we haven't even gone over the views yet, and this episode has already gotten like 20,000 views.
Do we get
Oh, at least. And my
At least.
4.2 billion is now 4.200000004 billion.
Good. That means
And
lunch
make
is
sure,
on you.
make sure to tell everybody you have a great show planned for us because
And
we
how
don't have
smooth it's gonna
anything
be.
planned.
I don't know what you're talking about because we have never had any planned. Nothing.
So, reining it in. Got a guest here. So what we're going to do is we are going to enjoy some greenery. We
cannot wait.
are going to take a shot of my good friend, I met the guy once, Black Button Distillery's 4-grain straight bourbon whiskey. But first, today's topic is the speaking out movement. Today we're going to cover...
A very touchy subject
It's
indeed.
a very touchy subject, but as we stated earlier, this is one of the subjects that we didn't want to pass up talking about. This is one of the subjects that, yeah, we missed the opportunity to talk about the layoff, but this is an opportunity for us to really be able to voice out our opinion and really have an idea as to what could be going on, what is in everybody's head, what's the issue at hand, what are we going to talk about, how are we going to go about the situation, and that's why we're here today.
I mean, I remember sitting there and I was thinking, you know, what this world needs with this speaking out movement is more
Liquor.
white male opinions.
What
That's what the speaking out movement. We need more white, privileged men telling their... No. We needed to talk about this, and this needs to be talked about now, and our producer Nicole came up with a list of people that this subject has touched, different wrestlers, and we're going to talk about them all, and we're not going to skip anybody, and we're going to be honest, we're going to be sensitive, and we're going to try to maybe get a little clarity in the craziness that is the speaking out movement.
Clarity is a very calm word to say it, so I would say that was the right word to go about
Clarity.
it. Jim.
Yeah.
Clarity. Fellatio.
We're going to have...
Jesus.
we're gonna have a very childlike. No, we're gonna have a very cool, a very adult conversation about a subject that is super touchy. And you know what? That's what we promised you from the beginning.
So on that note, I think it's time.
I think it's time for some greenery.
I think it's time for some greenery and some delicious bourbon.
Today's Good Golly Greenery,
Good Golly Greenery. Today's Good Golly Greenery is
my friend Fruity Loops.
Fruity Loops.
My
Follow your nose, you fuckers.
My buddy Toucan Sam dropped it off to me,
I was just going to say that. Does that make you Toucan Sam?
and it's indica
Instead of his nose being so long.
Oh. Indica dominant. We should be in a good mood. That's how we always start. Enjoy some greenery.
Time to
Fruity
loosen up, kids.
Fruity Loops.
Wake up! It's ASAP Podcast, kids! We're about to tear the shit up! As soon as I find my lighter! Thanks.
Right in the balls.
Damn, right in the mommy daddy button.
Well, Fruity Loops, and of course, the Bullet Bourbon.
Oh no, we're not done yet! Oh,
So
Sounds like it.
smooth. Every time, even on the specials. Guys, Dennis John, Dennis, thank you for coming.
Hey,
Thanks, pal!
quite honestly, it's an honor to be here. I was hoping in some way I could be a part of this. So
It's cool, man. And you walked into a minefield of a topic where you're really going to have, like, we're really going to see where we all stand on this motherfucker.
my mind is already racing because the three of us know a lot of those people who spoke out.
Yeah.
And so it's like now you're at the point on this podcast, do you say what you really think or do you clean it up a little bit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dennis
Listen.
John has already got the world pissed at him, and this is going to make the rest of the world pissed at me.
Listen, we each got a shot
Well,
in
it's
front
better
of
to be
us.
pissed off than pissed on. That's what I gotta say
that's
to a
what they
toast.
say.
Like Nicole's mom's always said, it's better to be pissed on for money than pissed off for free.
Salud! I agree. Oh God!
Is that too much for you? One shot?
Woo.
Woo!
And now
That's
from
true,
here,
you don't.
we deep dive on the Speaking Out movement.
So the first topic I got here is David Starr. So do we know the situation with David Starr?
To be honest, no, I don't.
Did you hear anything about this?
I did not.
Okay, so to give some background, David Starr actually wrestled for SWA a little bit. Back in the day, it's a juicy product.
I
JT
remember
Dunn
that.
and David Starr.
I refereed a match for them.
They came in, they did something with the Punkabillies, and they did something with Team Talent. David Starr, actually in the last couple of years, has become somewhat of a beacon of hope in the wrestling community. He founded a t-shirt company called Independent, and what they did was, through the t-shirt company, they paid for medical bills for wrestlers who got hurt and couldn't afford the medical bills.
Oh.
He also turned down several big contracts with big companies because he believes in independent wrestling. And he actually has been leading the movement for wrestling to unionize as a whole.
That would be really
That would be
cool.
great for wrestling. I've been saying that for years.
That would be fantastic for wrestling because then that would give guys like me, guys like Jerry, the ability to be protected.
Okay.
So now here's why he's part of the Speaking Out
But
movement.
he was in the Speaking Out movement, and here's what happened. Basically, David Starr deactivated his Twitter, deactivated the independent wrestling company's Twitter. He disappeared because allegations came out that David Starr was mentally abusive to his ex-girlfriend.
Mentally abusive.
Yeah, his ex-girlfriend has said he was verbally and mentally abusive. And then some videos surfaced of David Starr talking to a friend over video chat, saying some things about women that they're kind of derogatory. He said something like, "Hey, bring those sluts over. We need real sluts. Like, come to the ring and suck your cock in the middle of the ring, sluts."
He was being a locker room guy.
Yeah, but he was just talking to a friend on Messenger. In this situation, he was talking to
Yeah.
a friend. And next to him was a friend of his that was a referee for WWE UK.
Oh.
The referee for WUK, I can't remember his name, got fired from WWE over this video. And because of the allegations from the girlfriend and this, David Starr deleted his Twitter and disappeared. Which most people took as an admission of, well, I did it. Why would I delete and disappear and kill all my work if I didn't mentally abuse or verbally abuse my ex? And this video proved that he was very misogynist against women.
You see, I mean, not for nothing. There's a very fine line that people tend to cross on multiple occasions when it comes down to physical abuse towards one another. Now, looking aside from professional wrestling,
Mental abuse. Mental and verbal.
okay, so we're doing
Okay, so David Starr was never accused of physically
okay, so he was
abusing
never
anyone.
accused of physical
with a lighter
abuse.
one. Yeah.
Only
being-
mental abuse.
just being
okay.
verbally abused. Mental
What
abuse
would
can be a
be
million
considered?
things.
Okay, what would you guys actually? Let me ask DJ. DJ, what would you consider that could be a form of mental abuse towards someone else? Say, like if you and your wife got into an argument, would it be considered verbal abuse if you go ahead and call her a bitch or an asshole?
In my head, on a personal level, no. I've always had a rule that even the person I'm with, if we have a really bad rip-roaring fight, to never call each other out of each other's name. But in this day and age, if I was having a fight and I turned around and said, "Hey, you're a bitch, why don't you shut your mouth?" That would be, in the world we live in, the end of the world. But what I think Mr. Starr was doing here was a couple of degrees worse than that.
It could be It could be a lot of things. It could be this thing called gaslighting.
It could
It's
also
where
be
you
you're
make-
fat, don't wear clothes like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It could be putting someone down. It could
Right.
be devaluing someone's worth. It could be
Guilt tripping
guilt
somebody.
tripping or
Okay.
I'm gonna kill myself if you leave.
So okay,
It-
so
it-
also-
I'm not saying
also
just
making them
mind
feel like-
fucking the whole situation.
no, I'm not
Yes.
saying David Starr did any
Making
of
them
this. I'm
feel
just
like
saying
they're
this
never
is,
good enough. Like,
Yeah.
you made me dinner, but you know what? I came home from work and you made me dinner. I didn't have to cook, but it sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You should learn how to cook, you fucking
But-
animal.
but
you know what I mean?
David
So-
Starr didn't do any of this. We're not saying
Right,
David
right,
We're
right.
just saying that's a type of mental abuse. So that's what mental and verbal abuse and being a misogynist. I think in David Starr's case, because he was such a beacon of hope, like such a guy that people look to, when they saw a kink in the armor, they saw something he did wrong. It was even worse than what it is. And I'm not saying what he did isn't, because I don't know the full extent, but I'm saying it was like if Obama was caught doing something bad in the prime of his presidency, something really, really horrible. Oh my God, how would that hurt? I never thought he would do that. So that's what David Starr was. I never thought David Starr would be like that to women. I never thought David Starr, that was kind of the reaction people gave.
So let me ask you a question. So he was accused of this mental abuse towards his girlfriend.
I believe the girlfriend posted some conversations or some voice
Maybe
messages
some text
or some
something,
text or stuff
yeah.
he had sent her where it was clearly like, whoa, this is a different side of this guy.
See,
But
that's one of the
I
examples
haven't
where
seen
I wasn't aware on any of the back and forth. So it's hard for me to say just how abusive he was. He was forthcoming with it, though. He said, I did this.
No,
No,
he
he just
did
deleted all
He
disappear.
his
said, I
social
didn't
media.
do Okay.
I only know this because Harold O'Hart pointed it out to me. Harold's been very into the speaking out movement, and he kind of gave me some information about it, which made me look at it because I'm not I'm fuck social media.
Yeah.
But so in the end, on the topic of David Starr, that's what happened to David Starr.
You know, I mean, and I feel like a lot of people, they forget. Like, the fans of professional wrestling forget that there is a life beyond and before professional wrestling.
What do you mean? What do you mean in terms to David Starr? What is this?
I feel like if he's going to be judged by the media and everyone around him,
Yeah.
I feel like everybody should really know what both sides of the story are, so that not only they get to understand what the situation could be,
Yeah.
and not necessarily to get
Just to
some
hear
sort
both.
of sympathy. I want to hear both sides of the story.
Yeah, but
if
he
that's the
took
case,
himself out of it. He deleted himself. No
so
one
then
took
that's
him
just
away.
in my opinion, that's a form of guilt.
An admission of guilt. I
Yeah.
was thinking the
Admission
same
of
thing.
guilt.
Most
Yeah.
people have said that is an admission of guilt. Now, me personally, I could see being like,
It's only an admission of guilt if you go ahead and you ignore the situation and you disappear and you don't say a
Yeah, but-
goddamn thing.
to pick the opposite, I could understand being like, they're never going to believe me. I'm never going to be able to explain those text messages. I'm never going to be able to explain that we were fighting for 5 days straight and we said nasty stuff to each other, and that's I'm never going to be able to explain it because I'm a pro wrestler and I'm scary and this is my ex-girlfriend. You know, I could see David Starr being like, I'm never going to be able to explain this. Fuck it. But still, you can't do that because if you want wrestling, you have to fight for it even in this situation. He threw the towel in.
I agree. He absolutely backed off. Probably thought with the way social media is today, it was guilty until proven innocent. And it's sad that, it's like that, but it doesn't mean he's also innocent of these either. He could have just been like, wow, I was a piece of shit. I did all these things. Let me get out of the public eye before I'm lambasted.
Before there's more.
Yeah.
Cool. It could be. So on David Starr, in the end, none of us were exactly the most outraged about what he did because we didn't really fully understand. We haven't seen the text and stuff. And we're kind of all like, well, you took yourself out of the game, man. You're guilty because you made yourself look guilty.
You're guilty because you go ahead and you don't say anything. You need, you know what? I wasn't going to fucking bring it up. When you were called out, Jerry Warner, when you were called out,
Years
you
ago.
showed up to the fucking gunfight.
Oh, that time I had to go on the podcast.
You showed up to the gunfight and that was it.
My ex's idiot, cow and chicken over there, was gonna go on some podcast and talk shit. So I said, I'll go on the podcast. Let's do it. Let's discuss it. And the dude no-showed the podcast. And the podcast people were like, listen, we talked to everyone we could about all the shit the guy said, and we found out it was all bullshit. Sorry for wasting your time, man. And I was like, no, cool. Let's just talk. But I get it. But yeah, you have to some point
listen,
stand up and go, okay, okay, well, this is mine, this is yours. What proof can we margin here?
But that's the thing, that you can't find any type of proof because nothing, it never happened.
To play devil's advocate, we also know there are 3 sides to every story.
At least that's how I feel.
He could have done it, however,
Judge
with
me as you
her,
want.
she could have only been posting the incriminating text that outed him. Who knows if, in private she wasn't telling him he was the worst or, calling him out on every little thing he did. And when you're abused like that, sometimes you have no choice but to fight
True.
back. But the worst thing he could have done is handle it the way he did.
True.
If you're right, wrong, or indifferent, you got to fight because then people know who you are.
True. And I think that tonight we're going to get to not only people that are just downright despicable, they got what they were coming to them, but we're going to get some people, I think, some topics where it's like, wow, that person might have got fucked a little bit in the situation. All right, we're going to see. We're going to see what our producer...
My nuts are swollen with anticipation.
What our producer has up our sleeve
I'm
for
gonna
the
move
next
over now
point.
that you said that.
Don't you go nowhere.
All right, so next we're going to talk about Bull James.
Oh.
I feel like you guys know him, and that this, not a lot of people understand what's going on with him. And
Oh,
I
man.
think early on we should just hit this right away.
Rip the Band-Aid.
Band-Aid.
Yeah, I really feel like you should. We went
Bull
with a light
James
topic,
on
now we go
topic number 2. Like, out of the group, Bull James
Part
is
2,
number
yeah.
2.
I'm going to say this.
We don't know Bull.
I know Bull.
I hang out
I've
with
known
Bull
Bull for a very
after
long
parties
time.
and randomly when he's at that bar I go to.
He's super nice.
He's
so.
a very nice dude.
You guys know him
And-
better than I do.
I'm going to say this.
Are you aware of the story?
I
Not
know-
the details. I know he was
You know
involved.
what? I'm going to say this. Again, there is a life after wrestling. There is a life before wrestling. And there's real life in front of wrestling.
Are you saying that because you believe Bull's been canceled permanently?
No. I feel that Bull, in my opinion, didn't get a fair shot at what... or any way that he can go ahead and defend himself.
Eric, Pancakes. What do you know about the Bull James situation?
I don't know jack squat about the Bull James
You don't
situation.
know anything?
I know that he has gotten a lot of heat. I feel bad for the guy.
And YWC Wrestling had to remove him as a trainer and distance himself from Bull James.
Yeah.
Was he accused as...
Do you know the story?
I don't. The problem was when the speaking out movement, excuse me, came out, everybody came out in such mass quantities. After a
Yeah,
while,
it
you
was a
just think
lot.
it's the same thing over and over again, so you stop reading the articles.
I'm going to say this. Bull James is not my best friend. He's not even a friend. He's an acquaintance, but he's a good guy in my eyes. But I will say this. When people were talking shit about me online, months before I did a USA Pro that came into New York at the Sportatorium, people were on top of me, calling me a fat piece of shit, everything under the sun. Bull James was the first one to put his ass out there and say, he's gonna be there, and he's gonna whoop ass.
Wow. So Bull,
Bull James...
even though the people were shitting on you,
Yes.
Bull lied to the people and told
You're
them you were
dead.
good. When
You're an
you
asshole.
balls.
Yeah, you lied to them. He was like, that's
No,
right.
in all seriousness, Bull came... He came in when he didn't have to, because he is a genuine person. Does he have the ability to... You see, I don't know how to put that.
See, Bull and me, Bull came to Delaware and I wrestled Bull and Bull did a seminar and Bull was very
We
complimentary.
both did. We
Yeah.
both worked with him.
And Bull had said to the locker room, and I thought this was pretty cool, and he had said this one other time in the NYWC locker room, Jerry gets it. Jerry's always got it. You're a guy that understands wrestling. And I thought that was a cool comment from a guy who's done something.
Absolutely.
So I've liked Bull. I know that in retrospect, Bull has fucked me out of some opportunities, I found out.
He's not always that nice to everybody.
Yeah, and as has been
You know
told,
what?
Bull's going to make Bull's money, and I get it. I don't hold anything against him. But we have to talk about it because it's brought up by Nicole, and she has a gun. And you guys don't know, so I'm going to do my best to articulate what I have heard.
Bitch is strapped.
Okay?
I was wondering why there was a red light up my head.
Yeah. So this is the Bull James story. Do you guys remember at NXT TakeOver years ago, this has nothing to do with Bull, this part, there was a girl who held up a sign that said, "Face fuck me Finn." Do you remember this?
I've seen
yes,
that.
I think I
Yeah,
believe.
that-
I don't know
Yeah.
what her name was, but I've seen that.
I know her name. I talked to her. I can't remember her name right now. I'm sorry. So she went on to be kind of something in indie wrestling. She became a manager, and she actually now does some kind of porn on Pornhub.
Oh.
Anyway, And her boyfriend now is a wrestler who I think joins her in the porn on Pornhub.
Oh.
But anyway, so
Now, is what you're saying facts?
These are facts so far.
Okay.
These I know for sure. I don't know if the guy joins her with it, but I've seen videos with her and another dude, so I'm guessing it's the boyfriend.
Okay.
Kind of ruin your chances of getting signed anywhere big when you do that.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but this is what she does, and she's good friends with Gango, and I something happened to her a couple of years ago, and I helped her out with something, gave her some advice, and shit. Nice girl, whatever. Anyway, at some point, Bull meets her, whatever, and they're either going out, or they go on some dates, or they bang, or something like that. I'm not sure the details, but it ends. She ends it. And Bull's kind of messaging people going, hey, how's she doing? Hey, where's she working? Hey, does she still talk about me? Hey, is she talking to other guys? Hey, I don't think you should book her on a show because it makes me uncomfortable when I'm there. Hey, I don't think you should book her boyfriend on the show because it makes me uncomfortable when he's there.
Over
And-
the sign, or did he have any kind of interaction with her?
No, he dated her a couple
He
of
dated
times.
her a couple of
I
times.
think
few
they went on a
dates.
date, or they banged, or they were going together. I'm not sure of the detail, the length of the relationship, but they were into each other for a little bit, and then
Okay.
basically it ended, and he got what they're saying is stalkery. He was trying to figure out what she's doing, where she's going to be, and he just kind of was generally prying into her life, which he was cut out of, and he kind of prevented her and her boyfriend from getting some indie bookings. That really is the extent when
The
you
story
read.
of the scorned lover, kind of.
Yeah, when you read the text, it comes off. It definitely comes off like he really cared about the girl, and it comes off as like he's just like
I'm sure he did. because not for
heartbroken
nothing, As I
and-
said, Bull is a very nice guy.
yes.
He gives a shit about everybody, even when he doesn't have to.
But the way the interaction happened is fine when you're in high school, but when you're an adult, it can be weird. And taking work away from her and her boyfriend,
Is also a no.
using your influence and power, it's like Louis C.K. going to his assistant, hey, you want to see me jack off?
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit of a power trip.
Yeah.
And that's what made people go after Bull for this.
It seems to me like if he was doing that, it was more of a broken heart kind of thing, and that makes people do some crazy stuff. Not that I'm saying it's right, but I'm saying maybe that's why.
Once, Bull's gonna hate me for saying this, but I come from the same thing. Once a fat kid, always a fat kid. And fat kids don't get a lot of attention in high school, and you don't realize how to deal with women as well. So maybe he's just really into this girl, and he doesn't have the load of experience with women that would make him go, fuck it, she's gone, fuck her. And then this happens. Or maybe he was super stalkery and stalkery-ish, and he deserves all the heat. And maybe he doesn't. Maybe I don't personally want to throw heat at him because I like James. I like as a person, I like talking to him and stuff, and he's nice to me and stuff. But at the same point, I wouldn't do that.
I just feel
wouldn't
like it was an
with
unfair.
ex do that.
I feel like it was an unfair situation where he wasn't really exactly given a chance to defend himself.
Do you feel NYWC handled it correctly, removing him
Absolutely.
as trainer? Yeah, because
Absolutely, because
Yeah.
unfortunately, as much as I love Bull, I'm going to look at it from a business perspective. If that was the name of my company, and yes, you are my champion. You are the one guy in my company, but I cannot have you at this time. Unfortunately, due to what press is out there against you, I cannot use you. So, in the benefit of my company, I need to release you until further notice.
Now, you guys, we all agreed that David Starr, his lack of speaking on it, seemed like an admission of guilt.
Correct.
To my knowledge, Bull has not spoken on this. He didn't delete his media, he didn't give up his career, but he hasn't gone in depth and said, this is what happened to
I feel like he's a little embarrassed about the things that people have been saying.
Look at the text messages and screenshots.
You know,
it's
and-
proof in the pudding.
I still think the best way to go is just to be upfront about it and confront or deny or something, just so your side of the story is out there. And hiding just makes you look guilty, even if you were right.
Listen, I've known Bull since he was 16 years old. I've known Bull since he was training with Gino Caruso, whether he wants to admit it or not. I've known him since he was Donnie the Body Johnson.
Cool, what a
Working-
name. I actually like
I was
that.
going to
Yes.
say, wait a minute.
I like that for
sounds
a
He
name for a
played,
big guy, yeah.
and he did it well. He played that gimmick well. Now, I know he's not a big fan of Gaga.
Oh, Fallah
But the-
Bahh was something when he was younger. He was like Handsome Francis or something first.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's funny,
Something like
Donnie
that.
Johnson, like
But-
Donnie Johnson on Miami Vice, was he wearing like, you know,
That's
the
awesome.
white suit?
No,
Cool
but Donnie
idea,
the Bonnie
Bo.
Johnson, he came out, he had the headband, he was
Wait a minute,
doing
keep
the
doing-
exercises.
This
I know,
is
you're
special.
doing this thing where you're going off topic here,
No,
buddy.
but I'm telling you the reason why I feel so strongly about why I am not going to necessarily say that I'm on Bull's side, but I sympathize for Bull because I know Bull as a person. I know the type of person that he is now also. I know that, you know, a lot of things in the past with his career have made him into in somewhat
You do stupid shit for love,
kind of bitter a little bit.
but you do stupid shit for love, right? And
Yeah.
you do stupid shit for obsession. And that, I think, gives to the viewer. Was this, like, love? Was it, like, just a puppy dog? I love the girl? Or was this...
Could be
creepy?
ego. Could be, you're not going to do this to me. I'm Bull James.
I'm Bull James,
You
bitch!
know, yeah, I'm Bull James.
I'm Bull James, bitch!
Fuck your couch.
God, that's gotta be a t-shirt. I'm Bull James, bitch!
Hashtag.
And it's just a picture of him imploding a couch.
No. That's...
All right. That's the Bull James. I mean, Binky, we're gonna go on to the next one, and
And again, our opinions are just our opinions. You know, if people are going to take what we say into an account and take it as a shot or whatever, I'm sorry, that's your problem.
we're not apologizing for anything.
I'm
we're
not
just giving
apologizing
you
for jack
our
shit.
point of view from where we stand with the given person.
I care about the guy. I give a shit about the guy. I give a shit about the company. And I give a shit about the professional wrestling world as we know it right now.
And that's what I love about you, Pancakes. You just don't take a shit. You also give a shit.
All right.
Good man.
So the next thing I think we should talk about, which I guess this topic is going to join with the other one.
Yeah, but whatever you want
join
to
with-
do.
join
You
with
are the
another one?
producer.
All right.
You literally have a gun.
All right. So
Noisy
She's
cricket.
I
literally,
think you know
during
more-
the break, pointing the gun at each of our heads,
Why am I
saying,
the only one who got the laser scope?
if you don't speak louder into the
You're jittery,
microphone,
you might move.
she's
Yeah.
going to shoot.
Yeah, DJ's like that. Remember the Critic, that cartoon where it just moved all the time?
Yeah.
All right, let's get back on track. This is serious
right.
stuff, if I can be serious for a minute.
Thanks,
Okay.
Lance.
So we're going to talk about the Jim Cornette allegations.
Okay.
Because you know a lot about that, what happened, or what the full story is, because we like
I am
his
part of the
podcast.
cult of Cornette.
Yeah, we are big
And
fans
also,
of his podcast and wanted to talk about
big
this.
fan of Sonny Kiss. How weird is that? That's like being a juggalo and
It's
knowing
not like
how to
he's-
read.
Listen, he's
That's
not.
being-
He's not
I know
a fan.
more about the Cornette
He-
story than the other two. we
Okay,
did, so-
That's
not-
like relying
Jim
on
Cornette's
DJ
not
to
a
carry
fan
me downstairs.
Of
All right.
whatever. Just
So
just talk about
I
it.
want to make
Just
sure
go.
our guest gets airtime. So DJ, explain to the listeners what you know about the Jim Cornette story.
What I know is that when he was training at Ohio Valley, he used to push his wife on some of the guys that were there. What I heard, or what I read in different outlets was at one point, Big Show was seen outside a hotel room not wearing any clothes, smoking a cigarette, and that when Kevin Nash was there, he offered to have her give him a blowjob and he refused. That's
These are
pretty
my-
much what I know. Like they're
First off,
swingers, and he keeps
The
pointing.
Big
his-
Show one is my favorite one. It's my favorite
one.
It's my
Wait,
favorite
is
one.
Jim Cornette a swinger?
Yes.
They must be.
Wait,
All right.
All right, you guys
Okay.
got to educate me on this situation because
Now we're gonna hear the.
I'm
full
not going to
story.
lie. As much as I love Jim Cornette, I loved him as a manager, I loved him as a commentator. I have fell off the Cornette train.
Okay. Okay,
So,
so I'm the
catch me up.
I'm the perfect guy then for this because
Yes, because I know that you are very much into Cornette.
Okay, so Cornette took time out of his life to do a big podcast where he talked about this for about 35 minutes. Here are the allegations. Two people, two to my knowledge, came out and said, hey, when I was in OVW, Cornette said, why don't you come back to my house, hang out in the hot tub, and fuck my wife? And they said no, and they both felt that their OVW careers didn't prosper after that, and they both kind of felt like maybe it was because they didn't fuck Cornette's wife. Like, maybe the guys who did fuck Cornette's wife were getting the pushes, and they didn't because
They
they
said
didn't.
no.
Looks to me like Big Show would have gotten a push either way.
Damn.
And then Jim Cornette's best friend, who used to do the podcast with him before the next guy. Who's the new guy? Brian Last?
Yeah, I'm not good.
Brian
with
Last.
names.
Before this, Kenny Bolin. Kenny Bolin came out and basically said, yeah, they've been doing that for a long time. And this was Jim Cornette's longtime best friend. So basically, the internet kind of picked it up and they said, hey, Cornette is using influence and creative to force people to have sex with his wife for pushes. So that was the allegation. Okay?
You know what? Nothing, but who gives a damn?
Well, I mean, if you were a young wrestler and the promoter, the booker, told you, hey, why don't you have sex with my wife? And then after that, you said no, and you never really got the matches, you never really got the promos, maybe you're thinking, hey, if I would have fucked that guy's wife, maybe I'd be the champion of the OVW.
You know what's funny? That's hearsay, though.
I mean, it could be in just that person's head.
Right.
No,
but
when
that would
Cornette
be
did
considered
that podcast,
hearsay.
did he say it was true?
Even in a court of law, that wouldn't have even freaking...
All right, so
Okay.
here's where the story...
I will
What-
say right now that I feel so bad for Jim Cornette. I feel after Cornette explained himself that he never should have had to explain himself. That his personal life never should have been brought up.
No.
And I feel so bad for his wife. And I'm going to explain to you what Cornette said. Ready, guys? Cornette said, Stacy, his wife, has a hell of a lot of fucking fun. And Jim has a hell of a lot of fun. And sometimes they have fun with other people. And sometimes they have fun together. And he said about 5 people have been in the Jim Cornette and Stacy hot tub. And it wasn't any of the motherfuckers who came forward with problems.
I'm not gonna lie.
And the guys who came forward with problems, he doesn't remember them. They were just in OVW for a cup of tea. And he wants you to know that this happened. They do this, but it has nothing to do with wrestling. It simply has to do with having fun. And he feels that all he's been accused of is having an interesting life.
He does have an interesting life.
But he wants to say his 43-year-old wife, who hasn't been involved in wrestling for 15 years, she spent the last 5 days crying in the bedroom because she goes to Walmart and someone walks up to her and calls her a whore.
That's the problem with society. Especially with freaking internet trolls. Okay? All you people who like to sit behind a computer with your sticky-ass keyboard in your mom's basement, because all you can do in your life is sit there and judge people by their actions instead of understanding the type of person and that he is. I can guarantee you, he is a totally different person in real life. Why? Because there's a difference between wrestling and real life. Again, I've been saying this since the minute we started this podcast.
If Cornette pressured younger wrestlers under his charge as the owner or promoter booker to do this with his wife, and if they didn't get a push because of that, or matches they wanted, or their career was hindered because of it, he would be hugely at fault.
Of course.
However, on the other hand, I don't mean to step.
No, go ahead.
On the other hand, if these guys who came out and
It's my
accused
podcast, asshole.
accused them of doing just that, maybe they weren't happy with their careers, and we know the biggest word in the world of professional wrestling is fucking EGO, ego. They couldn't accept it with their own ego, and they knew what Cornette and his wife were doing. They were like, you know what, people who've been around them know they do it. Let's just blame it on that, and then my ego will be satisfied.
It wasn't
that's
me.
Why, yes.
It couldn't be
Absolutely.
me. It was them.
Absolutely, and
But
I think there's probably a
Yeah.
better case.
You know what? Even if it was a bitter case, the bottom line is, it had nothing to do with professional wrestling. Now, if he was to go ahead and use his power to do that,
He's wrong.
He's wrong. But there's no proof. Give me the fucking pudding. I want the fucking pudding and the proof. I want the proof in the pudding.
And this is Enzo Amore, comment out. But this is what it is, because the same people who are speaking out warriors and champions of the women's movement and champions of the Me Too, these people are also tend to be very anti-Cornette, because Cornette seems to be anti what they like.
Cornette's pretty much anti-everything. You ever seen that guy on TV?
Sure.
Everything. He hates this, he hates the other one, he hates this other. And, don't even get him started on...
But that's what everybody
so
tunes in to
Russo,
listen
you know
to
what I mean?
is a Jim Cornette rant.
Shut up.
What sells. That sells ratings. That's what makes ratings. That's what makes people want to fucking tune in. If I was watching Jim Cornette, and I bet you, because you watch Jim Cornette,
I do
the
listen a lot.
only real reason why you listen to Jim Cornette is because he's smashing on someone, or he's got an opinion on something. I'm guaranteeing you wouldn't tune into his podcast if he was being ultimately nice to everybody on the roster.
No, yeah.
I am not going to sit there and
Yeah.
listen to him be like, Well, it
Guys,
was a very good Monday Night Raw this past
But
week.
to that end, with his personality and the way he goes, you ever watch Dark Side of the Ring? I hope he's on every time because of the way he goes off.
He has
Being
been on
who
Dark
he
Side
is,
of the Ring.
You got to think at some point he's going to lose his mind a little bit and just be like, you know what? I don't work there anymore. I did it. Fuck those guys and fuck you. You know, and he didn't do that.
He
In
didn't
the
do
end-
that because in the end, not for nothing, he, you know, in my opinion, I feel like even to this date, and he's been around since the fucking 80s, and he's never been an actual wrestler. He was never a wrestler.
He's taking bumps. I mean,
He's taking
scaffold
bumps.
and
Of
shit.
course he can bump, but he's not a wrestler. For him to be
The thing
a
was,
manager or a form of something or
Ownership,
someone
booker.
exactly that people know from this date in the past to now, and still people are listening to him and he's making his voice known. And you know what, again, his personal life has nothing to do with the wrestling life.
yeah, I mean, really.
If he wants to go ahead
Yeah.
and fuck his wife with 6 other different men, women, and a cow, that's his goddamn prerogative.
Well,
each
not a
his own.
cow because
Swinger-
then you'll upset PETA.
Being
That's
a
the
swinger,
reality, yeah.
being a swinger and having an
Not
open
if it
marriage
was
is not a
consensual.
crime. It is not against the law. I am not saying there's anything against swinging people, but if you're doing that, and if Cornette, like we said earlier, was using that as leverage to get people in their swinging life,
Then he's wrong.
then he's wrong. Absolutely.
But as it seems to be proven, and as it seems to come out of everyone we've talked about so far, Jim Cornette seems to have walked through this thing unscathed. If anything, his wife Stacy had some fucking mental abuse lobbied at her by the same people who are trying to help people. And I hope that she walked through it okay. But in the general, it seems...
after Big Show, you give it credit for being able to walk at all.
Oh.
Damn.
Anyway.
I think Cornette would say the same thing.
Anyway.
All right.
All right,
We've covered Cornette.
So with that, now we think he didn't do anything wrong, but
I don't know if he did
we
anything
don't
wrong,
know.
but I'm saying, given the context and what's currently and what's agreed upon, it seems like the only thing that was wrong was his life being exposed.
Yes. So now that was wrongfully exposed. Now let's talk about someone else, or let's talk about another topic, the grooming topic.
Do you know what grooming
because
is, guys?
that one
Oh, yeah.
kind of ties in with, they were saying that he was predatory towards younger OVW guys, whatever, to fuck his wife and stuff. Now this topic of grooming is against younger women.
I just want to say, it's a special and everything. I'm not sucking up. I'm not being bullshitting. the way that was segued, great producing work. Boo Boo, you are hands down one of the
Thank
greatest
you.
producers I've ever seen.
Everybody
Great-
give her a round of applause.
Yeah!
Oh, hey!
Boo Boo, who produces and picks the topics and the order.
Great segue, Boo Boo.
And
You are not,
she doesn't pee on the rug.
yeah,
She
never.
does not.
Thank God.
Very good.
She writes all my stuff, so
He likes to grunt and drop in.
So,
Yeah.
Damn, that
Dennis
sounds
John.
like a good time.
Dennis John, do you know what grooming is?
Give me the definition, because I know it means a couple of different things. So, what is the definition here?
Pancakes, you want to handle it? Or you got me.
Grooming is something that someone in a predatorial activity would do to someone of age 16 or under.
he's not going to just.
So,
grab his phone.
example,
You do it.
example, you come to a wrestling school, your trainer is 18 and above, and you are 14, 15, 16, and your trainer trains you and teaches you and nurtures you and makes you the wrestler you are, and then at 18, they fuck you.
Okay, that's grooming.
That's an example of grooming.
Okay.
Taking a young person in wrestling, taking a young person in the business, maybe they're 18 and above, maybe you're 50. Who knows?
Okay.
But taking a younger, inexperienced person and helping them through and being there for them in the guise of one day
They'll
turning
be
it into something sexual.
Okay,
That's grooming.
I've actually seen that in different places. So okay. I get
Okay,
it.
so I was totally thinking of the different type of predatorial.
That's grooming.
Yeah.
Michael Elgin, Impact Wrestling, they have parted ways. One of the things Michael Elgin was accused of was somewhat of grooming, taking young female trainees and saying, hey, why don't we open up the school Wednesday? I'll train just me and you. I'll give you my personal attention.
flag right there.
There's a guy out of Maryland. I want to say his name, but at the same point, his name isn't big enough to matter. So should I reference it or don't give him the publicity? Someone's got to answer me. It's 4 people.
Yeah, do it. Just yeah. Who
There's
cares?
a guy named Diaz out of Maryland. He basically met a girl when she was 14, trained her in the school, and when she turned 18, they revealed that they had been dating.
Okay.
There are text messages and stuff now that they've broken up of him telling her what to wear, how to move, how to be sexy for men. A lot of creepy things that could fall under being a trainer, but most people take it as grooming.
Okay.
And Joey Ryan, a couple people fall under the grooming thing, and you've seen it. Even locally, I've heard of some grooming stories where a younger female came into a promotion or a school, and the trainer or whatever would take her under the wing, and eventually it would end up being something sexual. But again, it's hard to quantify whether that's just human nature, you end up dating the people you're around, or whether that's a creepy older man taking advantage of a younger woman.
Well, you have to look at it in a perspective where the girl, obviously...
Wouldn't be okay for your manager to do that at Taco Bell.
No, it wouldn't be okay. But if they're doing something on the side from the sport that had nothing to do with the sport, and they're not doing it in the ring, and they're not doing it, you know what I'm saying? It's their business. It's their, if they want to go ahead, they want to date, then date.
Okay,
Well,
first of all, I would
that's-
never condone an adult dating somebody who's 18. Let's.
Oh,
let's
no,
get
no, no,
that
no, no, no,
perfectly
no. I'm not
out of the
under
condoning
18
that
you
at
mean?
all.
Yeah, I would never let somebody who's over 18 date somebody who was jailbait, basically. I don't
No,
condone
no,
that
no,
at
no,
all.
no, 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 no,
Let's
no,
be
no.
perfectly straight on that.
Pancakes, are you admitting some stuff here?
No.
I'm just messing with you.
You're
Pancakes
retarded.
is engaged. She's 26,
25.
25, going on 26. I'm never
Mhm.
wrong. And, yeah, continue, Deej.
No, that was my point. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that we weren't condoning that.
I definitely not. I definitely feel like grooming is creepy. I feel like in
At
a
the end-
relationship setting, when you have that many years apart, I know it work for some people, but I feel like it's a different mind capability, and it can be a little bit creepy.
Even if it was consensual in the end, sex should never happen in a coerced way. And ultimately, that's what happened.
And years,
Nobody should ever use their power to,
Yeah, knowing
quote, get in
someone
there.
when they're 14 or 15,
Yeah.
and you're in your 20s or 30s, and then when they turn 18, you're like, all right, you're of age.
who's
I'm
the
like,
guy-
that's
that's-
not
who's the guy from
right.
Full House?
No.
Who's the guy, the main
Bob
guy?
Saget.
Bob Saget. Bob Saget says,
Dirtiest comic ever.
but Bob Saget says where he draws the line is people who walk up to him and go, man, Michelle and Ashley turned out hot. You ever fuck that? And he's like, I knew them when they were fucking babies. What the fuck is wrong with you? When you know someone that
You
young,
have a mental...
shouldn't
yeah,
something
it's-
click? I've had them when they were vulnerable. Why? So that's the grooming topic. That
Yes.
a lot of people have been
Okay.
accused of grooming, and we had to touch that as a subject. Good work, Boo.
Yeah.
Damn.
Good work segueing.
Thank God we have Boo, because Little Monster Binky's a piece of
The
shit.
most active
Ah.
producer I've ever seen.
She's in the next
What's
room mixing
next?
margaritas. Okay, so that's grooming.
Grooming.
Indeed.
You want to keep rolling? You want to keep a break, guys?
I'm good with keep rolling. How you
Let's keep it
pancakes? You
going.
look like
What do
you're
you
about
got?
to have a stroke. over there.
No,
All right,
man.
so since we were talking about the grooming, we should talk about the companies that fired people, such as TNA, firing Joey Ryan, Michael Elgin, who else? DJ Hyde and CZW. I don't think his was grooming. I think his was just
Sexism.
sexism
That's
stuff.
a whole different thing, yeah.
And Chikara fired some people. So let's talk about some of the the indie companies and TNA firing people.
Well, Chikara's a whole different thing. Chikara's a whole different thing. Fired. Chikara, the company closed down.
Yeah, the whole company closed down.
If we're talking about Chikara, do you guys know the story of Mike
Nope.
Quackenbush and Chikara?
This
do
is
not.
why you're the storyteller there,
Yes,
child.
sir.
I'm weirdly informed on this compared to you guys.
He's another one of those that I saw the headline and I was like, you gotta be kidding. That guy's been around forever.
True.
Wow.
You know?
He was a guest trainer at the Performance Center, and yeah. Okay, so basically, Chikara's been around forever.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, Mike was accused of being predatory towards young trainees and fans. The example used was a guy came forward and said he remembered the time where he was backstage at a Chikara show with Mike Quackenbush, and Mike said, "Hey, who's that girl in the third row?" And they said, "I don't know, she's a fan." And he said, "Go get me her. I'll fuck her tonight." Then he showed up to the next training and said, "You guys know that fan?" Fucked her.
Oh, wow.
No.
And a couple people that trained at the school said Mike would be touchy and feely with them when they were younger, 16, 17, 18 girls. and let me stay after class, and Quackenbush, much like David Starr, responded by closing down Chikara permanently, closing his wrestling school, and deleting his Twitter. He resurfaced about a week later with a 1-hour video on YouTube saying that if he tried on Twitter, no one would listen, so he's going to put up a YouTube and hopefully people will listen. Where for the most part he categorically denied the claims, but basically said it was over wrestling-wise. So that's Quackenbush and Chikara. Chikara is one of the big Northeast wrestling promotions in the United States, or was.
Yeah, that's the key word.
That's
Unexpected.
that's very unexpected.
That's very
And
surprising.
so is that.
Yeah, I mean, that literally, our producer Boo Boo has been so quiet, so stoic, and she is so uprooted by Mike Quackenbush.
God damn it!
That's right. She knew that he was up to no good, and she was gonna.
If the one thing
Way
Boo
in
Boo
on
cares about is Chikara Pro Wrestling, she enjoys
Yeah.
that comic book feel. Yeah,
She gets
Chikara's
very
gone.
excited for this.
It's gone. It's
I thought
dead.
Chikara had a video game out and everything.
They
were
worked on it
getting
for a
big.
while, but yeah, it's gone. And the allegations basically come down to grooming. Some grooming and some predatory behavior towards fans. And you got to imagine that girl in the crowd when she hears the owner, the guy who just main evented the show, wants to talk to her backstage.
That's a lot of the male ego thing too, like I was saying earlier. That's the ego, I can get any chick I want kind of thing. You bring her back to my room. In my mind, I'm a lot bigger than I think I am. I'm John Bon Jovi. I can have... That's a dated reference, I get it.
No, it's
but-
great. Donnie Bon Jovi trained me.
You know what I mean? So it's like I can have any girl back here I want. Fans or groupies. That's a weird fucking wacky ego mentality. And you know what? I've never shared that kind of mentality, but I see how people like that can get sucked up in their own ego, especially when they wield that kind of power. It doesn't make it right,
It
but
definitely doesn't.
it happens a lot more than even that. You know
And
what
he's
I mean?
gone, and for the most part, he disputed it. But
That's
for
why
the
most
part,
companies
it
have
seems
sexual
true.
education,
Wrestling's a weird park.
It really is.
We don't have an HR department. We don't have a union.
Nope.
There's no medical. It's the Wild West, and
It really is. It's unfortunate because it could, if we did have something like that, it could really save the lives for a lot of wrestlers.
Well, that's part of the whole, the grooming thing with people being younger. In almost every job, almost every company, business, or whatever, you're not allowed to date your manager.
Very true.
You know what I mean? That is not allowed. And there are reasons why. And that falls into reasons why. If you're someone's trainer or an owner and you have this power, you should not be dating people who are below you and use your leverage.
Right.
that's one
In
of the
a way.
things the speaking out movement's been about. Not only necessarily sexual abusive situations or verbally, but it's also about power abuse. And I think
It's
This
almost
is-
universal in every case.
yeah, absolute power. I mean, people who are unchecked. Man, imagine how bad it would have been in the 80s if these stories had broke. Imagine the stories back then in comparison to now.
We've heard some of them. We were bringing up the old Pat Patterson stories. About
I
different
watched
things
a
earlier,
porno on Pornhub of a McDonald's employee giving a blowjob to her manager in the parking lot. That's exactly what we're talking about now.
Jesus.
Wrestlers don't make good porns. I saw the Sunny porn. She looked bored.
Oh my God.
It looked like she was about to take a nap.
Ah, man, don't mention Sonny. Sonny's one of those people, at the end, when Old Yeller is just full of rabies and the kid's got
And
to
they
put him
take him
down.
back and they shoot him. Yeah.
Imagine how many diseases Sonny has. Okay, we're going to take a quick
Wow.
break and we're going to come back.
Ba-doop-bop, ba-doop-bop, bop.
Now, before Little Monster Binky rolls into the next one or Boo Boo directs her on what to do, because Boo Boo's the brains,
Boo Boo is the brains of the
I'd like to
operation.
say none of us have said anything that will get us canceled so far, and I'm very proud of us.
Thank God. And you jinxed us.
Yeah, I mean, we were honest, too.
Asshole. Damn.
We were also honest.
Just in
and-
case y'all are still just coming, you guys are all listening in right now. This is ASAP Podcast. We're
And,
doing a Sunday special.
Speaking Out movement with guest Dennis John. And as the late, great Heath Ledger said as the Joker, and here
We
go.
go.
Sounds good.
Let's go, Binky.
All right, so the final thing we are going to talk about
Oh God.
is, of course, where it all begins.
Here it comes.
So
Hold into your pants there, honky. We're going down to fucking Shitville now.
So
I know what's coming.
So do
And it's
I.
like a blanket.
Yeah.
It's like a wet blanket to a person in a psych ward. It's gonna kill us.
As soon as you announced the topic, I knew what the finale was going to be.
okay, so
The origin of the show.
Yeah.
Candy Cartwright
Mm-hmm.
started the Speak Out movement.
She didn't start it, but she was a big
the
original.
biggest-
The first big case.
The first
A
big
big
case,
case.
that actually came to people's attention, brought the Speak Out movement. All the cases after only got all this attention because of her original accusations against Matt Riddle.
Matt Riddle,
And
bro.
he's the reason why it got so much attention, because when she accused him, it was the day of his debut on SmackDown.
Coincidence or not, it happened to be the day he debuted on SmackDown, and I think in a way that kind of took credibility away from it in one way. Because people felt like, hey, it's some girl, some person I don't know, trying to take down the great Matt Riddle during his debut. Now, are we all up to date on Candy Cartwright and Matt Riddle?
Do you
I
think
am.
Matt Riddle has corns on his feet?
No, I imagine him soaking his feet like Spike in Little Giants in milk every night to keep them soft.
You know, he
Nice
wrestles
and
barefoot
soft.
because he doesn't want to buy wrestling
You want to
boots, right?
tenderize him.
Does he really? Is that really?
I read an interview with him. He said, my trainer said get new boots, and they were $500. And I said, you know what? I'll wrestle barefoot.
I always thought it was the MMA thing, but that makes sense. That's funny. Okay,
I feel
Matt
like it's a
Riddle,
combination.
pancakes. Reel
Um,
it in. You explain to us the situation.
ha!
What do you know about Matt Riddle and Candy Cartwright?
All I'm gonna say is this: I don't know Candy Cartwright very well. I don't
Really?
know her at all.
Okay.
Um,
How well do you know Matt Riddle?
I don't know Matt Riddle from a hole in the wall.
Okay, even footing. Keep going.
Where are you going with this, you SOB?
You're going.
What?
Continue.
I like watching Matt Riddle wrestle. That's all.
So you don't know anything about it?
Nada.
I do.
Really?
Yes.
All right, Dennis. What do you
This
know?
is how oblivious I am. This is how much I care about that situation.
Well, you-
Is that it doesn't affect me because I'm still gonna see him on Monday Night fucking Raw. I'm sorry, SmackDown. He's on SmackDown.
Maybe
Well,
not.
here's the thing, because WWE released a whole bunch of people off the UK roster, El Ligero and Jack Gallagher, all because of sexual allegations
Well,
against
there's a
them.
reason for
there's
that.
Matt Riddle
Four
has
more
got
guys.
too
There's
much
A bunch
money
of people, yeah.
invested in him.
There's also a reason for that. He was, first of all, I don't know Matt Riddle from the hole in the wall, but I know Candy Cartwright very, very well. I've known her since she was 16 years old. I trained her, well, I didn't train her, I trained with her in FTW while I was the referee trainer there, and I saw, on the topic we said earlier about the grooming and everything, I saw that was evident. Also, what happened with this is until she came out in the Speaking Out movement, I didn't know she had a relationship with Matt Riddle. Again, I don't know him from the wall. I have not seen Candy Cartwright in about the better part of the last 9-10 years. I can only speak on the person she is and what I think might have happened, but she accused Matt Riddle of, during a road trip, the two of them were in a van, and he said something to her like, get on this D, and she was refusing because there was other people in the van, and he wouldn't, let up. He kept, insisting, and then finally she kind of just gave him a blowjob and quietly went back to sleep, and that was the end of it. And then after that, it came out that he and Candy Cartwright were actually in an extramarital relationship, but the thing was, Matt Riddle had already outed himself to the wife. It wasn't like Candy outed him. He outed himself years before this because she kept posting pictures of them together and kissing. But number one, those pictures didn't really help because they were smiling in the pictures and they were kissing and they were hugging. And
At that point, it looks consensual.
But I have to step in here. Just because when we're together, I am happy to kiss you and I'm happy to doesn't mean when we break up, you can't walk up to your ex-girlfriend and just fucking start making out with her. She's
That's
your
true.
ex for a reason. So, just to say, along the way, things change, and that does fit the narrative of what was said. Continue, Dan.
My thing was, and I'm not saying this is gospel. If I had, and this is my personal take when I read the whole thing, during their relationship, she was probably trying to get in there because he had a pretty bright future with the MMA and getting into the wrestling, a much clearer path than she did.
Are you projecting, or you think that? Or you're guesstimating on the person she is?
I'm guesstimating on the person that I knew.
Okay.
That he was, giving her all these promises, saying, I'm going to take you with me. Then, right as he got signed, the relationship ends, and she's left with nothing after he got what he wants. So to me, and again, I don't know this to be true, this is my guess, she saw finally he's making the main roster, this is the day I'm going to come out and I'm going to fuck him like he fucked me.
It was more like, it kind of made it look like there was a plan.
Now, the timing could be completely 100% coincidental.
Yeah.
It was the night Candy turned on her TV and said, what I've been keeping inside me because of the old wrestling ways of keeping it inside, it's too much. I can't watch this man who did that to me on my TV screen. I'm going to say something now. But it could be, I am a jealous, scorned lover, and I am going to go after him now because this movement's beginning, and he just debuted, and now is the perfect time, super villain-esque, the perfect time to voice what I have to say.
She's been involved with other people in the wrestling business. I can think of 3 off the top of my head. One was pretty serious, and there was nothing about any of them, and none of them were ever signed to a big deal, and that's very telling.
Well, so you feel like are you saying that she could have had these same problems with other people and she didn't mention it just because they weren't famous? Or are you saying that her history of dating people within the wrestling business is conducive to Matt's story of, I hooked up with her and she got obsessed?
I think that when he outed himself in the relationship, she became scorned, and they have all these pictures and texts and things that would say that. And unfortunately, I support the movement. I think if you do any kind of abuse to anybody, you should be outed. This speaking out, and she was the OG of the speaking out movement, didn't do her any favors because remember when Enzo got fired? He didn't get fired for what happened. He got fired for not saying anything.
Yes, that's true.
Matt Riddle has been very forthcoming from the beginning. His wife was in on it. They've even posted pictures of his wife telling her she wanted more texts from them. She knew everything. He left her in the dust. He had no reason to stay. He's got his career. His wife forgave him. He wanted to move on. She did not move on.
All could be true. Now, let's say every single thing in the narrative, in the way you say it and the way Matt says it. Let's take it back. Matt's narrative and Candy's narrative. Let's go over that because I know it.
Okay.
You missed something. Yes, Candy said that her and Matt had an affair, Matt being married, and that they broke it off, and that one time traveling in a van full of wrestlers, the majority of wrestlers had fallen asleep, and Matt grabbed Candy, this is Candy's narrative, by the throat, and pushed her against the wall of the van, and said, what if I just made you blow me? What would you do?
I heard that.
So that really is the bit of the argument, that aggressive, what Candy claims throwing it. Now what Matt says, Matt denies the van allegation, admits that him and Candy were a thing, but says they broke it off, and she then became obsessive and stalkery, and they had to file a police report. Now, with that said, everything Dennis says, and the way Dennis believes the narrative, and the way the narrative's been by Matt, is it possible, all that's true, everything Matt said, and he was in a van with his ex-girlfriend, and everyone was asleep, and he wanted some, and he thought he could rekindle what was going on, and he thought it would be cute or sexy or whatever to be dominant and put her against the van and say that, and she felt uncomfortable when she did it. Is it possible in that setting?
I think it's possible, but I think it's unlikely. There were other people in that van. If you and Nicole were on a van trip with me, and I was with a girl, and you guys were sleeping, and I don't know for sure if you're fucking sleeping, do you think for 2 seconds I'm going to take somebody by the throat and put him against the wall and possibly wake you up to know what was fucking going on?
No, But I've been in wrestling situations where there's a room full of people and two people decide they can bang it out without anybody noticing.
That's not somebody forcing themselves on anybody. That's people
That's
not
just
giving a
being
shit.
that's just
Yeah.
being an opportunist,
Yeah.
One time I was with Pancakes and his mom.
asshole.
Ooh.
Moving forward.
Pancakes is very against incest. He grew up in West Virginia, and that's the one thing
You're
he stands
such a
against.
dick.
Flapjacks and waffles can mix, but not brothers and sisters.
You're a sick fuck. You know
Wow.
that? Wow. The line has been crossed.
The line is always crossed. That's the problem with this.
If he wasn't my best friend, I'd sock you.
That's the problem with this.
Kick you straight in the
If
nuts.
that moment where she got choked happened, it's a completely different narrative, and this guy ends up being one of the most problematic of the whole discussion tonight. But if that didn't happen and they just hooked up, Matt still cheated on his wife. His wife is still one of those people that says, "Hey, I won," instead of being mad at her husband.
He owned all of it. That speaks a lot of it. He owned
True.
every bit of it. Yes, he denies the thing in the van, but like I told you, a violent outburst in a van full of sleeping people doesn't mean it didn't happen. I don't know Matt Riddle, but it's unlikely. You got to think logically in that situation. If I'm trying to sneak around, I'm whispering. I'm trying to be cute. I'm trying to convince you. I'm not taking you by the fucking head going, you know what I mean? That it's unlikely to me.
Well, maybe being her ex-boyfriend, he knows that she likes it rough. Maybe that was the way they were.
Maybe that was the thing.
Even
they
to
did.
that, then would you risk waking everybody up so they could watch you fuck in a van?
Well, you're Matt Riddle. You're the chosen one. You're getting signed next. We're all pretty sure of it. And we're all just grunts sleeping in a van. I mean, you're the big name.
Down
in the
by
van.
the river!
Again, I didn't say it didn't happen. I said it was unlikely
Yeah,
because of the information I was given.
The way she presented it, the timing, it's like a conspiracy theory. It leaves both questions on both sides where whether you're on one side or the other, you could make an argument.
Like I said, I know Candy Cartwright a long time. She came into FTW. She was really young, didn't even have gear. And she used to wear Skechers in the ring, and like her feet were too big. We used to call her the puppy because when a puppy's paws get too big. So she was always nice to me. However, as she got older, she got involved in a couple of different guys, and it doesn't make sense to me, especially one of them in particular, and you know who that is. With the person that person is, there was nothing to say on that person because he was never signed. You know what I mean? So I just think it was a scorned lover. He got signed. My career isn't going anywhere. I'm going to burn him.
Well, she was doing.
She was in WWN, right?
She's doing pretty well for herself. She was like the host of Shimmer, the host of Evolve. Even though Evolve signed to WWE.
Now, when
Who knows if Evolve was going to take her? If the WWE signing was going to roll her contract over, we don't know.
Now, what you're saying
Not
to
Matt
us right
Riddle
now
level,
is
though.
all facts, correct? All of it?
Well, I told you a lot of it was hyperbole because I can only go by the information.
There are no
Okay.
facts. The only thing we know is that Matt Riddle and Candy at one point
Well,
were
that's
hooking
exactly
up,
what I'm saying.
and we know they were in that van. None of the wrestlers in that van have spoken on it, and that's all we know. They were together. They were in that van. The
I don't
wife
even know
knew
what the
about
other
it.
guys were.
I know that the wife. It's like I don't want to say anybody, but like the same crew of that company that
Okay.
sets up. normal
Listen,
stuff.
at the end of the day,
We
the
know a lot
only
of 'em.
people who ever will know what happened that day or night in that van, while everybody was apparently asleep, because I don't know how you can sleep through almost a physical altercation behind you in a car.
But do you want to be the guy that? Comes
No, I don't
forward
want to
and
be the
says,
guy that.
yeah.
No, absolutely
But
not.
even
But
to
what I'm
that end, all
saying
she
is
had to do in a
this.
van full of sleeping people
But what
was
I'm
yell
saying,
help.
what I'm saying is this though. There's
Well,
always
okay, you
two
yell help.
sides of the story, and the only people that are gonna know what really truly happened that night, Matt Riddle, Candy Cartwright, and you know what? People are going to side with Candy because Candy's gonna say what she wants to say. People are gonna side with Matt because Matt's the superstar. Matt's WWE. People need to understand that your opinions. They don't even our opinions don't necessarily matter. It doesn't matter at all. That's why they're called opinions, because they matter to us, but not necessarily to everybody
They're not
else.
facts. They're not true.
It's not a fact. It's not a fact. It's not anything else. It's my opinion. Your opinion.
With a lot of these things we talked about, I find myself falling on one side or the other, judging the evidence and going, well, David Starr made himself look bad. Joey Ryan, who we didn't even touch. And Joey Ryan is a serial of things between grooming and inviting girls to sleep in his hotel and touching them while they were sleeping.
His mighty dick gimmick will never work again.
Joey somehow avoided this whole episode, but like I find myself on one way or the other. I feel like Joey Ryan kind of fucked up. I feel like Jim Cornette got a bad rap. I feel like Bull James fucked up, but I feel bad for him. You know, I'm finding myself on one side or the other. With this latest one, with the very last one, the Candy Card Matt Riddle, as far as me, I don't like her. I think she's very arrogant. I think she works harder than a lot of people, but I think she's very arrogant. I don't think she's very good in the ring. But I can see what she says lining up, and I can also see what Matt says lining up. They're both so probable that this is the one thing where I have no fucking opinion. I have no fucking judge either way, and I would love. This is the great mystery. This is like Stephen Avery on Making a Murderer.
Oh, man.
I want to know who's right, but we never will.
No, we won't.
And he's going to skyrocket to the moon, and she may be done here.
And you know what? At the end of the day, those two are good, as I said, going to be the only ones who really truly knew what happened. And at that point, they're going to either say to themselves, wow, I can't believe, I finally put myself out there and I got everything done and it's the truth. Or they're going to sit there and they're going to, for the rest of their days, sit there and be very, holy crap, I can't believe this happened.
Imagine if she's telling the truth and he goes on to be some fucking world beater, the next Brock Lesnar.
It's insane.
This girl.
But nobody will ever know.
Problem. But what if she's lying and in the end they dump him because of these allegations? Imagine, the speaking out movement did so much good, but it has the potential
to do so
ruin
much
you. It
damage.
depends on if you're believable or not. Again, Matt Riddle saved his own ass by being straight with WWE, being straight with the fans, not trying to hide it even a little bit. And what does WWE do? They put him over the Intercontinental Champion the next fucking week. That was them putting out a notice saying, we're not going to let this burn him.
No, they're protecting him.
What if he did
There's a lot of money invested
What
in
if
it.
he did it? People who generally do that will eventually fall into that situation again.
Karma's going to come around.
Yep.
It's almost like when OJ wrote that book, If I Did It. I was like, no fucking way you wrote that book.
Chapter 6. He writes the whole story about how it happened. It's the only chapter of the book I read.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're planning to get rid of the wife. I got you. Just between you, me, Pancakes, and Boo Boo, I got a real wife problem.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I cook your dinner, bitch.
Who told me there's going to be some dead weight
Damn.
cut around here?
I think that is.
I think that's a wrap.
That's the last one. Do we have anything else in the bullets?
It was all talked in. Joey Ryan, we didn't talk too much about him, but we know he got fired.
Well, for a long time we've been talking about doing a Joey Ryan thing, so
know
maybe
what?
one day.
Yeah, one day.
Maybe one
but
day
you
we'll
know
talk
what?
about Joey
Even
Ryan.
though we didn't get to almost...
We got to almost everything.
We didn't get to almost everything on the list.
Pretty much.
Pretty much the moral of the entire story...
Is the Dennis John influence get you through more of your bullet points?
And Dennis John is a whore. No, the moral of the story is... If you don't have the truth, don't sit there and fight each other about whose truth is the real truth.
I think the moral of the story is there's no truth. There is no truth.
But that's what I'm
There's
getting.
only perception.
With everything in the world we live in, everybody's going to pick their side of the fence and they don't want to hear nothing else. It's very rare that you convince somebody otherwise.
I personally hope the speaking out movement in the end rights the wrong it has created and creates the rights it needs to. I hope the people that truly deserve, the Rude Boy Rileys of the world, I hope they get deleted and out of our business. And I hope the guys who have no business being slandered, like Jim Cornette, are able to navigate the sea correctly. I want to hand it to us, man. Being three white middle-class men who have all the privilege in the world.
Damn.
We literally could have buried ourselves tonight, and we
I think we're
we
about
did
to
all right.
if you continue on talking, asshole.
Listen, man, I don't see you guys besides Trump rallies.
Wow.
I snuck Putin in last time.
Yeah.
I think we did all right. I mean, I don't think we could quite get the quality of conversation riding shirtless
Kanye.
on horseback.
Yeah.
If you do decide to come back into the mix with this presidency,
Oh,
I'll
Kanye.
vote for you.
Oh, my God, Kanye.
Get-
I'd vote for him.
I
Imagine
just
that
don't
first
vote
lady.
for anybody.
I'm sorry, he's going to make smoke legal.
The first lady
Smoke?
with a sex tape.
Smoke?
His he had
Oh,
a
smoke.
sign make
Like fog machines.
make-
Got you. Got you.
His was make greenery legal.
You know what I think it is?
That's a quote?
You know what I think?
The
Make
sign I
greenery
saw,
legal
yes.
is great.
Awesome.
But you know what I think the main purpose of this? We navigated this great, and I just feel like we can end on the fact that we all agree that Kanye West is fucking batshit crazy, and that's
Hell
what the
yeah.
Speaking Movement is about. Stopping
Agreed.
Kanye West from getting any place in office.
George Bush does not care about Kanye West.
I hope so. I don't either. Guys, thank you for coming to ASAP Podcast, a special. Thank you to our guest, Dennis John.
Woo!
This was a hard topic.
Thank you for having me, and anytime you want me to come back, I'll do another show with you. And folks, remember with this coming election, like South Park said, you're going to have a choice between a big giant douche and a turd sandwich, so stop getting so fucking hot over it.
I think the next time we have a
Wow.
topic about, like, if we do a topic, like, special topic, like, people who raise the rent during pandemics to cause strife to the middle class, we're going to have you on. Pancakes, you got anything left? You good?
Guys, follow, subscribe, share.
We're going to try to get you a special every once in a while, but really we got to focus on the next episode.
Guys, thank you so much for listening, and as always, take care of yourself and each other.